Our man here, the Baptist, he took us to the break with the song from Dirty Dancing, Brian.
1988, which was Australia's most popular song of 1988, not the George Michael, which was the US.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, Australians are better judges, in my opinion. Bill Medley and Jennifer Warnes, that was. Swayze sang She's Like the Wind.
She's Like the Wind.
I like
who sang Hungry Eyes?
Oh. I'll have to think about that.
Matty will know.
Matty will know for sure. Just before we get to Matty too, by the way, lots of people asking about Tootsie's tips. So he's taking us to Albury. Race 2, number 1, Always at the Beach. Race 4, number 8, Bray Beach. And race 6, number 7, Captain Evie. So 2, 1, 4, 8, 6, 7 is the way we're playing that. But speaking of our man, let's get to the great Matty Johns. He's your host of Morning Glory. Matthew, good afternoon to you.
Eric Carmen, boys.
Eric Carmen.
There you go.
Hungry.
Eric Carmen.
When look
and,
at
Patrick
you.
Swayze, rest in peace. He was She's Like the Wind. And time of my life, when the Dogs beat the Tigers in the grand final, that was a song that was playing when they did the victory lap and Gus had his Ken Doan jumper on.
Oh, yes. I was going to ask you what your memories of the 1988 grand final. I didn't think you were going to go that in depth. I was thinking more about when Barr just took the Pearl's head off.
Ellery, yeah, mate. That was an amazing season for the Tigers, and there's so many similarities between the Tigers that year and the Bulldogs in '95. Given the fact, mate, the Tigers, I was a massive Balmain fan. Middle of the year, they were paddling, the Tigers. I think they were sitting about 8th or 9th. And then halfway through that season, Ellery arrived. And I remember the first game he played, they played Manly, and I think it was at Brookvale Oval. And I'd seen a little bit of Ellery playing for the Great Britain side, but I'd never seen him, really watched him closely. And I remember his first run, because he was so unorthodox, he just got into dummy half, acted like he was going to go one way, took off the other, and literally just shrugged off about 5 blokes and then dragged the next bloke about 10 metres. And Rex Moss said, Jesus, this bloke doesn't know when he's tackled. And, mate, Ellery, that run in is, like, when you talk the greatest runs ever in rugby league, you think about Jared Hayne, Tommy Trbojevic, different ones who've gone on, mate. Ellery had one of those runs. If you have a look right through leading up to that final series, and in the final series, every time that Tigers needed something and they were in trouble, he come up with the try, the big moment. He was just an amazing player. Warren Ryan told me when Ellery arrived at Balmain, they said, righto, mate, we're going to play you 6, because they needed a playmaking half, because they had Gary Freeman and they had Mick Neal, who were both sort of, mate, they were just energy players. So he tried Ellery at 6 at training, and he said Ellery was just totally lost, had no idea where to be, what to do, because when he played at Wigan, the Wigan boys were telling me that all he used to say was, get out of the way, Ellery's ball, right? So what he did with Ellery that year, he said, mate, I'm going to play in the 3 in the centres, but, mate, that's just a number in your back. Just do whatever you want. And, took him to the grand final. And as you said, unfortunately, Barr knocked him out.
Wow.
So, that was an amazing year.
What about if Ellery was playing these days? Would he be centre again? Or do you think it might be a lock forward?
Yeah, spot on, mate. He'd be 13, Fletch, for sure. Because that like the loose forward role, as they would play in the English game, plays very, very similar to the way 13 has evolved or done the full circle and the way they play now. Ellery, whilst not a ball player, mate, he'd just pop up through the middle and just drive teams crazy. So, yeah, he'd be a 13. Mate, I'll tell you what, boys, go back to that, I think he might have captain coached the English side in '94. Look, I forget, but there was a series, mate, that he was captain and might have been coach as well. And, mate, some of the things he did in that game were just freakish, like just totally unorthodox to anything we see in the NRL. And, mate, they nearly knocked. Actually, they beat us at Wembley first up. But I made great memories of that '88 season.
And this streak we're talking about, Matthew, we're talking about on the field. Are we? Is that what we're talking about with Ellery Headley?
Yes, he was. He certainly had a good time out here in many ways.
Hey, was that the same year? I think, pretty sure it was. Didn't Blocker get ironed out suspension? And he tried to sneak over to England.
Oh, yeah, to do the...
to claim those as games,
yes,
didn't he? But
that's right.
It didn't work.
No.
Yeah, he ironed out. They scored they played Balmain. Balmain, played... it was that game, actually, I was just talking about Ellery's debut. Manly at Brookvale, and Tigers scored a crucial try, but Eddie Ward picked up in the background. Blocker knocked someone out, so try just allowed Blocker cited, suspended, and missed the grand final. You're right, and he had an association with the Warrington Club, so they tried to do a deal with Warrington, go over there, serve the suspension, then fly back. And he got over there, Blocker, and started to play, and then John Quayle and Arthur said, no way, we're not going to have that. So Blocker talks about the pain. He said in '88, he listened to the game over the phone from someone's radio. He said it was the worst day of his life.
Why? He didn't want to go and watch it. Like was it too hard for him to sit there and watch it?
No, he just said no. I'm not sure. I don't know whether it was televised live there at the time, but he said his only means to getting the scores and listen was, mate, he had to ring someone in Australia. They put the phone to the radio, and he listened to it there.
Now, Matthew, the Storm get their man. Well, they've re-signed their man, Jerome Hughes, 2030. I said to Shug, I said, what do you reckon the number would be total? Would it be a $5 million deal all up? Because don't forget that the ratchet comes in 28 and 20. The rights come in. They're saying the salary cap will, but Sugar seems to think it might not be that much.
Don't know. I'm a little bit with Sugar. I don't know if it'll... I mean, ratchet-wise, depending on how much the salary cap goes up, but Fletch, it's the old Melbourne thing, isn't it? Like, you just... You take less to stay there.
Yeah.
And that might be the case with Jerome. To keep... because, I mean, they're in a big battle now to keep Munster at the Bears. I mean, some of the figures being thrown around there as far as the Bears are concerned. The Bears must be anticipating a big rise in salary cap, because some of the figures I've heard around Munster are sitting around $2 million.
Yeah.
They're looking at.
Wow. Hey, Matty,
and other players as well. Mate, I've heard things about middle forwards that they're looking at $1 million plus, around 1.5 for one or two that I've heard. So. Wow. So I don't know what information they're getting or what figures and everything, but it sounds like the salary cap's going to have.
Yeah, you don't have to pay tax too. Landy's just said. You don't have to pay tax.
Okay. Hey,
that's the thing. Like PNG. I mean, if you're at the moment, this is what concerns me when the Kalen Ponga situation, boys, about leaving, and people are saying, well, if he wants to go, just let him go. The problem for Newcastle is, at this point, if you start shedding players right now. You got the Perth Bears coming back in, or coming into the competition. You got PNG there going to offer tax-free dollars, mate. You could be. There's never been a time, I think, in rugby league history where recruiting is going to be so difficult.
Well, speaking of recruitment, they're going to get me started again. I was very strong on this opinion yesterday. Dane Gagai looks like the future at Newcastle is not going to be. Even just to hang him around, he wants 1 year.
Oh, he's a great signing for whoever it gets him.
Now I'm starting to think to myself, well, don't get out. They don't appreciate you. They give you an offer of $300,000 when it was $400's the average, as you mentioned.
But if you got so much tied up in Brown and Ponga, mate, that's you got to pay the price somewhere, and maybe it's the likes of Dane Gagai.
But $400's the average.
Yes.
He's not the average player.
No.
He doesn't give you. I just think for effort alone and having there as an experienced player. Anyway.
That's right. Well, mate, I'm with you, Fletch. I can't believe it. Mate, you signed Dane Gagai for $400. You got a good deal.
Yeah.
And, there's no player in the last 15 years that has given so much consistently than Dane Gagai. And he's come out and said he thinks it's disrespectful, and I've got to say I agree with it. And and once again we come back to the talk about recruitment. Well, if you're going to get another Dane Gagai, and I understand you've got the age thing, but right, who are you going to replace him with, and how much you're going to have to pay? And I know there's some really good young guys, a couple of young good guys coming through like young Fletcher Hunt and things like that, but you still don't know. The second year in first grade, as you blokes know, can be problematic. So I'm really surprised by that with Newcastle's stance on Gags.
That's the last I'm talking about anyway.
Okay, well, Ricky Stewart can have the last say. He had a few words from the press conference on Sunday relating to Dane Gagai.
Don't underestimate that football team we played against. You look at Dane Gagai, he was the first bloke I'd re-signed when I was involved with the Knights. He was by far their most hungriest, best player out there tonight. He just never stopped trying, and that builds teams. You can build teams around a person like Dane Gagai.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, and that's the thing as well, Fletch. Like on top of that, Shug, is that like if you look at the Knights side, in my opinion, he's the best leader. Right? Caelan's the captain, but Caelan will lead by his brilliance and by actions. But Caelan at times is a reluctant leader, where Gags is the one that gets them going. And again, if you want to have an impact in the competition, you got to have a couple of really good leaders in your side.
Well, they're leading the comp at the moment, Canberra. Ricky, well equipped to comment on that. He's built a side full of leaders. They're flying the green machine, looking at 10 straight at WIN Stadium. Panthers looking for 8 straight. Now, I think there's only 4 teams, Matty, who can win it. Raiders, Bulldogs, Storm, Panthers. Raiders, Bulldogs, Storm, Panthers. Is there anyone outside that cohort, in your opinion?
Oh, look, Brisbane, Smoky, outside. It breaks my heart not to say the Wars. If I had to pick a side to win the competition, I would love it to be the Warriors, but you just think the Metcalf injury is a bridge too far. Makes it very, very difficult. Wade Egan not playing this week, I believe. It's getting tougher and tougher for the Wars. Yeah, I think you're right. I reckon you're right, mate. I'm telling you, mate. I had a look at the odds, and what is it? Melbourne about 360. The other 3 are sitting about even, about $5 the 3 of them. Mate, I tell you, mate, Penrith are coming, and mate, the freight train's arriving. And I think it'll be interesting the final few rounds. I reckon, mate, Ivan, if players need freshening up with a round or 2 to go, I don't think he'll push them to the brink to make a top 4 spot, mate. They've just got to arrive and be fresh.
So just on this, Matty, I've had this idea for a while where if you run first or second, you get the same benefits, right? So you get the second chance, you get the home final. If you win through, it's a regional final. So the same benefits. The only difference is the minor premiers get the photo with the JJ Gilton Shield, and the club, not the squad or the coach, the club get $100,000. So in other words, as a player, there's no real material benefit for running first or second. What I've been proposing to Bears Head, Matty, and I think it'd be great theatre as well, that Team 1 chooses who they pick out of 3 and 4. For example, if Penrith run 4th,
see you later.
Who would pick them in their right mind? But then there's other scenarios where one year the best player who ran 4th or 3rd, for example, they're out suspended for that 1 week. You might say, we want to crack at them now. Yeah. Like, wouldn't that be great theatre for the game? And it's a genuine reward.
Mate, 6 o'clock after the last game of the final round, you get those sides, the top 4 sides, they've got to sit there. Well, the top 3 sides, because 4th will have to basically take what's left. The top 3 to sit there on the 6 o'clock news and say, righto, we'll take, like Raiders finish first, and they have a look down the list and go, mate, we'll take that team. I mean, imagine the side they select that week. Yeah. I mean, they won't need much motivation. They'll be right up to it. But you're right. I think there needs to be more for the minor premiers. Joel, I think it needs to go up from 100,000 to 500,000. Yep. And I think if you win the minor premierships, I reckon, mate, that 500,000 should come off the cap the next year.
Yeah, I don't hate that either.
That's spicy.
I like that.
Could we not wait until the team lists come out, or you're just gambling?
Just gambling?
So you're gambling. So you're saying, righto, Nathan was injured. I wonder if he's going to play. You can't wait until Tuesday. No. You got to do it straight away, 6 o'clock.
And the undercard, of
just
course,
before Worlds around us.
You'd start with the 5th side doing it. So 5th could do the same with who they want to play. That's the undercard, just to get the content going.
Yeah, like
and then you finish, team one after the break. Who are they going to pick? And it's a live press conference.
And then, and the CEO's then got to close their eyes and measure a yard out.
That's right.
What do you think?
That's right.
What do you think?
I think that's great.
That was rank. Very nervous. The bosses are very nervous.
No. Shug came up with this. I don't know. Shug just went on a tangent.
Don't repeat it, mate. It was ordinary.
It was. I still didn't get it.
I saw something online. I thought it was very clever. I just couldn't. It was the wrong medium. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, what else we got, Matty? What else is happening, Brian?
I just want to know, have you heard anything about Herdsy Muir, 8-foot Adam, and Jackie O? Because it was in the papers. They were caught on the Bondi to Bronny walk, and nothing else was said. Is it a yay or a nay? Or do you think it's done?
I don't know. Fletch, Herdsy as a player occasionally, would drop in and out of form, go from the starting lineup back to the bench. I've got a feeling at the moment he might be back on the bench.
Right, okay. It's just because I think she'd be, he and her would be great catches. I feel that they...
Oh, I totally agree.
I feel that they could form a strong friendship / relationship.
I think so. I think we should bring back like the Perfect Match show where we get basically 3 NRL players and bring a celebrity on and they, do the whole thing. What do you like to do in your spare time? I go to the tab, get on the piss. B, what do you like to do? I don't know, go on the tab, get on the piss. Okay, number C, what... I had a mate. One of my old man's mates went on Perfect Match, right? And he had another friend sitting in the crowd, putting up the fingers, mate. Number 3, go number 3, go number 3. Yeah. Anyway, when the screen came back, he realised he'd been G'd up.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh, that's great.
First one came around, he went, "Oh my God, wow." Number 2 came, "Oh my God." Number 3, it must be all McPherson.
That was pretty much the first sort of reality show, wasn't it? When you think of it, we had Sailor Sentry. Is that reality? I know Blankety Blanks.
Yeah.
That's not really reality. I feel that Debbie Newsom and Greg Evans.
Yes.
Oh, gosh, I used to love that show.
Yeah, that was
Remember
great.
Bill Harrigan was on there. Bill Harrigan had rank teeth. I'll never forget it.
Really?
He had baked bean teeth.
And mate, Junior was on there. Junior Wayne Pearce.
That surprised me.
I think he was married at the time, which was slightly odd. But anyway.
It was the 80s, Matty. It was the 80s.
That's right. Hey, we're going to go.
Well, mate, that's right. I'm negotiating with Trishy on F-Boy Island.
That's great. You can tune in tomorrow, Matty. We've got Orem and McGwen, so we can pinch some of those tails again tomorrow. Matthew, we'll chat on Thursday. Great chat.
Good on you, lad.
See you, mate.
Really enjoyed it.
There he goes. Matty back on Thursday. All right, Melbourne Storm fans, you had the good news that Jerome Hughes is locked and loaded to the completion of the 2030 competition. Now, Storm Star meets with Rugby 360 bosses in Melbourne, writes Chamis through the Sydney Morning Herald. So, Storm superstar Ryan Papenhuyzen has held a high-level meeting with the bosses of breakaway rugby competition, Rugby 360, about the possibility of defecting in 2027. R360 officials were in Melbourne over the weekend for the second test between the Wallabies and the Lions and met with Papenhuyzen on Sunday, raising fears of a raid on the NRL's best talent. Papenhuyzen, who played schoolboys for rugby for Oak Hill College, he's contracted to the Storm until the end of the 2026 season, but this November 1 clause would not apply, would it, to whatever Ryan Papenhuyzen would like to do outside of rugby league?
Correct. Rugby that's why they can have high-level talks now. This is getting serious now.
It is.
If it is true, and I don't doubt it. Well, Melbourne and rugby league can't compete with the money on offer. So it'd be very hard to turn down. Has he? I suppose now it's him. Has he achieved everything he wants in rugby league? Probably not.
Well, it's the sky blue jumper that eludes him. And he played Australia for Nines, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's got a Clive.
He's got a Clive. Well, you don't know what motivates people. Storm contract breakdown looks this way. So, free agents from November 1 coming, Harry Grant and Ryan Papenhuyzen, Tyron Wishart, but it's a club option, so they're okay there, the Melbourne Storm. Will Warbrick, Xavier Coates, Sean Bloor and Nick Meaney. So they've got a lot to mop up.
And they've also, and They've also got Sua Falongo, who
Yep.
can slot into fullback.
Yep, yeah, they do.
If they're not going to get into a bidding war with him, so it's what would he be worth for Melbourne?
Pap,
Yeah.
Oh.
If Jerome's not getting $1 million,
you talk, they listen, Brian. Newcastle Knights are pleased to confirm club veteran Dane Gagai has agreed to extend his contract for a further season with the Knights. He made his NRL debut in 2011. Further season, Brian. Maybe he's got his eyes on the R360 as well. 309 NRL games he has got in the bank. The representative bank has confirmed he'll kick off his 16th season in Las Vegas next year for the Knights. Turning to the run home with Joel and Fletch, Meni Caroutas, the host of The Missing Australia, which has garnered almost 3 million downloads and consistently ranks at the top of the true crime charts on your podcast. Former policeman at King's Cross in the 80s, Meni turned to journalism and has since worked on Channel 10's Hard Copy, Channel 9's Missing Persons Unit, and has appeared as a guest on many shows and media outlets, including Gary Jubilan's Catching Killers, Justine Ford's Unsolved Australia, and many true crime podcasts and segments, just like this one here. Meni Caroutas, welcome back to the Run Home with Joel and Fletch.
Hey guys, how are you?
oh, we're going good. But you'd have a bit of a spring in your step after the mighty Eels give it to the Broncos over the weekend. Did you watch that game, Meni?
Yeah, I did, mate. I thought they played really fast, attacking football. I think Rylesy is doing great things.
Yep.
And I think, look, this won't be their year, but I reckon in the next 3, 4, 5 years, they're going to become a real powerhouse.
Agreed. Well, did Matty? Yeah, Matty said on Matty Johns, said by the time that Jason Riles retires at Parramatta Eels, they would have won a competition.
Right.
So he thinks
He won't leave there without a comp.
Correct.
Wow, okay.
That's a better way of saying it.
I just wanted to offer my commiserations to Fletch as well.
Why?
Oh, you missed out on the Kangaroo coaching job, mate.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I did. I was sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Manny. Yes, I thought you were talking about something else.
Sorry about that. Are you
Yes.
okay?
Well, I was. Yeah. Look, I did put my hat in the ring, as they say. But Kevy's a great choice.
Great choice.
So I'll be his assistant, I'd imagine.
I think you were more qualified, but anyway.
Thanks, Manny.
I tell you what, you're more qualified than us, Meni, when it comes to true crime. The Missing Australia podcast. Now, you've got your last episode was on Ivan Milat. What do we learn from that one?
We learnt that he was a really, really evil man, and that two former detectives, New South Wales detectives that worked on the Ivan Milat case, they both believe that he was responsible for many, many, many more killings, many more victims, upwards of 60.
Oh, wow. So, Manny, on that, I was watching a show about the Byron Bay killers, and there's been some unsolved murders, and I noticed recently in the Gold Coast there's been some, missing people.
Yep.
Did he go, or do your detective friends think he went that far north?
Look, I think his movements are largely based on his work records, which show that he worked on a road crew, so he travelled a lot around New South Wales. But he also enjoyed camping and that. So, I think he did travel outside of Australia. Outside of New South Wales. But look, it's anyone's guess. I often say that Milat was responsible for a lot, but we can't blame him for every missing person, every unsolved murder, because the sad reality is that people like Ivan Milat are not few. There's probably other Ivan Milats out in the community who haven't been caught and are responsible for other missing persons cases.
Wow. Gee, that's chilling, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you hear it like that.
How many people currently are missing? I don't want to go too far back, but just say from the 90s. How many people are officially still considered missing, Manny? Do you know that?
Like cold cases.
Well, the records go back. The records go back to the turn of last century, so they go back quite a bit. But so a long-term missing person is someone missing longer than 3 months, and there are more than 2,600 of those around Australia.
Wow.
New South Wales has the most, with 816. followed by Victoria with 559, then Queensland with 356. But the most sobering statistic, boys, is that there are upwards of 750 unidentified bodies and human remains around the country.
Oh, and
right. Who most likely, well, they would fall into that number, wouldn't they?
Or is that separate, Meni?
No, they're separate, mate.
They're separate.
So the 2,600 is long-term missing people whose identity is known, and then you've got over 750 unidentified human remains and bodies.
Why can't we, with all the technology and DNA testing, why can't we find the identity of these people?
Well, mate, that's the big question, because there is a national DNA database where DNA is kept, and police encourage all family members of who have a missing person to go give their DNA.
Yeah.
But even with the technology in that, those numbers still remain high.
Can I ask, Meni, with that 2,000 odd number you mentioned, would the assertion be that most of those are due to foul play, or could it be suicide?
My belief is yes, Joel.
Right, wow.
No, my belief is yes, Joel. So there's 4 reasons people go missing. One, they're tired of the life they live, and or they're running away from something, want to start a new life. But that's more difficult in a modern age with digital, identity and a digital fingerprint. They self-harm, misadventure. Someone goes for a surf, drowns, they never find the body. And the 4th one is foul play. And in my experience, I would submit that more than 50%, probably upwards of 70%, of long-term missing people are victims of foul play.
Wow.
So that means there are killers still at large in the community.
So Meni, the latest episode is about Ivan Milat. Can you just tell us what you investigate in this podcast in the latest episode?
Well, I spoke to a number of people, including Detective Paul Gordon, who sadly passed away a couple of months after I interviewed him, and he was the guy that cracked the case. He was the guy that found the misplaced statement from the British backpacker Paul Onions, the one who escaped Milat, and Milat fired at him as he was running down the freeway. So I spoke to Paul, and his interview was quite chilling. Now Paul was a big guy, 6'4", big solid guy. Milat was a short guy, but quite solid. Paul was the guy that placed the handcuffs on him when they raided his house. And Paul said that he put his hand on his bicep, and he said he just froze with fear, because he said if him and Milat were in a room, only one would come out, and it wouldn't be Paul.
Gee whiz.
Oh.
Wow.
So Ivan, even without guns and weapons, he was pretty dangerous.
He was. I think he was. Yeah, he was. Look, he was a fitness fanatic. So he wasn't very
Ivan
tall,
was?
but he was super. Yeah.
Ah.
Super. He didn't drink. I don't believe he smoked. So he was a very, very fit man, and obviously, and also the other thing is he was charming. I mean, all his friends, especially his family. Yeah. I mean, 99% of his family think that he was innocent because he was charming. He could charm people, and I mean, and that's the whole thing. I mean, people expect evil men or evil women to have horns and look like the devil, but they don't. I mean, part of their, the way they operate, their modus operandi, is that they're charming and they can suck people in to trust them.
Hey, Meni, just on that, right? So, and you hear differing reports of how people handle their time in jail. So some get quite gloaty and braggy about what they've done. Others vehemently deny what they've done. What was the case with Ivan, do you know?
Well, I also interviewed a criminologist called Amanda Howard, who wrote letters back and forth with Milat for 20 years. So she got a real insight. Now, he never really revealed himself because he's very, very cunning. But she told me, and I was also told by a corrective services officer at Supermax a few years ago, that Milat had convinced himself he was innocent. Now, he would walk around, in his cell and when he was in the exercise yard, mumbling to himself, "I am innocent, I am innocent." And when he signed letters to Amanda Howard, he would sign it with a little figure of an angel.
Yeah, wow. Gee whiz.
Yeah.
Now,
These guys convince themselves that they're innocent.
well, that was the case, we believe, and we discussed last week the death of Bradley John Murdoch, of course, charged with the murder of Peter Falconio. He maintained his innocence apparently the whole time in prison. Also, now you, Meni, flew to Darwin at around that time to cover the story when it actually happened.
Yeah, I did, mate. My brief was to go up there and to, when it happened, to try and get an interview with Joanne Walters, which everyone wanted. But of course, I mean, she was, closely guarded by police. So, she didn't speak for a number of days until she did a press thing. Yeah, but I think Milat and Murdoch are very similar. I mean, they took their secret of where, their victims were buried, other victims in the case of Milat. They took it to the grave because it's the only power they had. When you're in jail, you're told when to wake up, when to shower, when to eat, who can visit you, what time. The only control they have is the knowledge of where they, disposed of their last victim. But also, there's a number of Facebook pages and things like that, and books written pertaining to Murdoch being innocent. Now, when you build up that fantasy that you're innocent, you convince people, right? The last thing you want to do is admit that you are a killer, because it breaks down that fantasy. It disappoints everyone, so they won't do it, and that's probably one reason, or the main reason, why Murdoch never admitted to what he did with Peter Falconio's body.
Because in your opinion, you feel that Bradley John Murdoch was guilty?
Mate, I go based on evidence,
yep.
And I know that our judicial system, our court system, isn't perfect, but it's a pretty good system. And after being found guilty, he had two appeals that both failed.
Yeah.
So.
And
he tried appeals that failed. So.
And do you feel that, because, all the conspiracy theorists out there saying, do you just feel that Joanna Lee's, because they were saying she wasn't crying, that was just how she handled her grief?
Mate, 100%. And for someone to say that, it's a very misogynistic way to look at a young woman, right? It's like we're expecting a woman, who goes through this trauma to fall down in a mess and cry and freak out. Well, I mean, but there are strong women, who can be strong in the face of such terror, and you can't predict how someone is going to react, and I mean, we all. In different situations, I mean, it with your friends, with anything, everyone reacts differently. So I think that was unfair criticism, and then they said she changed her story and that. Well, think about it. I mean, incidents happen and you may remember something days or even weeks later. So I think it was all very, very human, her behaviour.
Does it happen often when criminals who are getting life imprisonment on their deathbed then confess? Is it something that only happens in movies, Meni?
No. Look, it does happen, but I don't think it's as common as maybe we're meant to believe, or as is depicted in movies. I mean, look, when you're talking about a killer, especially serial killers, like Milat and that. I mean, these guys are evil.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing nice about them. So, they're very hateful as well. I mean, the fact that they've been caught, that they're in jail, they hate, the victims' families. They hate the victim. And, as I said, the only power they have is the power of the knowledge of what they did with their victims and what they want to do, even in death. They want to torture the families.
Yeah, right.
And the cops, who locked them up. And that's what they do. But they have no redeeming features. People think that just because someone's terminally ill, that all of a sudden they're going to get a case of, morals and, I want to do the right thing. That doesn't happen. We're not talking about normal, good people. We're talking about, really, really evil people who have no redeeming features.
Yep.
Hey, Meni, very comprehensive as normal. Now, you've released a new book, Someone Somewhere Knows Something. 18 missing people, multiple families grieving, and one person looking for answers in this forensic and moving re-examination of some of Australia's most heartbreaking missing persons cases. We've got Godana Kadevsky, Lauren Whitefield, the Adelaide Oval abductions of Joanne Ratcliffe and Christy Gordon. So we have on Wednesday, Glee Books in Glebe, official launch of the book. You can buy tickets for this at gleeevents.com.au/events, and also Dimmicks and Collins bookstores have it as the book of the month. The book's also available through Dimmicks and Collins bookstores, and audiobook available at Apple Audio Books and wherever you get your good books. So, Meni, mate, well done again. We love having you on True Crime Tuesday, and I hope the book goes very well for your great self.
No, thanks, mate, and I appreciate you having me on. All the best.
Thanks,
that book,
Meni.
as we said,
Thanks,
so you
buddy.
can get this through those good bookstores. Thank you very much, Meni. Someone, somewhere knows something. There you go there, folks. So True Crime Tuesday, another one in the books. There is a question here, a conundrum, before we go, Brian.
Yeah, read it out.
What's on the menu for Palms Redmond? He said, boys, Tuesday conundrum at my local. Should I get a double Wagyu beef burger with cheese, beetroot, tomato and lettuce for $25, or it's steak night, so I could get two 300-gram rumps with mash and veggie and two different sauces for $24? Dear Jared, please help me.
Nah, double Wagyu. It's not often that you've got the opportunity to rip into a Wagyu beef burger with cheese, beetroot, tomato and lettuce. The rumps, sometimes they're offering that deal, two rumps and veggies and two different sauces, $24. Nah, go the top shelf. Get the Wagyu in
Go
there.
the Wagyu.
Make sure the bread, though, isn't soggy where all the juice slips through. It's like a siphon.
How do you make sure that happens?
What you've got to do first, you've got to have your cheese down, then your lettuce, and put the meat on top, then your tomato on top, then get into it.
Love it. Salt and pepper. Beautiful.
Salt and pepper, bit of aioli,
Yeah.
barbecue sauce.
What's on the night, Brian?
Brit's making Korean chicken.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, crispy Korean chicken. Haven't had a homemade meal for a long time.
Is that a bit of rice with it, Condoleezza, or?
That the girls will have it, but as you know, I'm on the Mediterranean methylene
Fad.
Yeah,
Raw.
sort of generic, not genetic testing. You're still here? We'll see more on the Joel and Fletch socials and catch us live on SEN Radio. Because if you don't, you're an A grade, but if you do, you're the absolute Mickey.